What? The Cubs really just traded Yu Darvish and Victor Caratini. Nah, at least they got some top prospects in return. Wait, for Zach Davies and 4 teenagers. Oh, you gotta be kidding. And then the Cubs are eating some of Darvish's salary. I'm done. I officially retired. Right now, I am this close to exploding. So it will be a miracle if I make it through this recording without breaking something. Yes, you've been living under a rock. The Cubs have sold Yu Darvish and gotten literal garbage in return. And today I am here to rant about it. We're going to start with Darvish here. Coming off a second place Cy Young season, his value right now is the highest it's ever been with the Cubs, or so I thought. In 12 starts in 2020, Darvish had a 2.01 ERA, an NL best 2.23 FIP, an 0.96 whip, and a 6.64 strikeouts to walk ratio. That got him a second place vote for the Cy Young Award, and with how loaded the Padres are with prospects, you would think they would be willing to part with at least someone like Mackenzie Gore, CJ Abrams, Robert Hassel, any of their 5 top 100 prospects to get someone like Darvish. I mean, I know his contract is upwards of $20 million a year, but they have payroll to spare, and if the Cubs are going to eat some of the contract too, which is supposedly what's happening, he's absolutely worth that type of prospect. Instead, we're getting an okay starter and 4, not top 5, not even top 10, but the numbers 11, 13, 15, and 16 prospects from the Padres, who range in age from 17 to 20. We've seen so many top prospects over the years have horrible major league careers. I would consider it a miracle if even 2 of these mid-level prospects even make the majors, let alone make up for the impact of Darvish. Yeah, they're young and they have potential, but there's such a risk with players that young. Then comes the Cubs' point of view. It seems like this is mostly a move to dump salary. But what's the point of dumping salary if you're not going to compete? The Cubs need to make moves for major league ready players if they want this salary cutting to be worthwhile. Because with the roster they have, they're about a 500 team. Getting Zach Davies does literally nothing to help get the Cubs closer to the playoffs this year, and he's a free agent after 2021 anyway. If you're going to dump salary to try to compete, trade Chris Bryant. He won't give you nearly the level of production that Darvish has and will still cost you roughly the same amount. Even if you can't get a high value package in return for Bryant, he still frees up salary space and you don't lose a whole lot of talent. Whereas by trading Darvish, you lose the same amount of money, but you also lose a lot better player and you still got nothing meaningful in return. I guarantee the Cubs could have gotten way more in return for Darvish too if they kept him available for longer. Just... If Chris Bryant is on the opening day Cubs roster in 2021 and Yu Darvish isn't, my head may be one with the Arby's curly fries bowl. The other player on the Cubs side of the deal is Victor Caratini. Other than being Darvish's personal catcher, I don't really feel like he provided too much value for us. It's kind of like the John Lester, David Ross situation for the Padres, where if you get one, you should probably get the other. Victor looked like he was going to turn into a solid contributor in 2019, but he definitely took a step back this year. And with Contreras as our starting catcher and Miguel Amaya in the farm system, I think we don't lose all that much. But now we get to our return haul. First, let's start with the only major league talent we got back, Zach Davies. Of course, being a Cubs fan, I have a personal vendetta against anyone who played for the Brewers for a long time. So combine that with the fact that we traded our ace for him, let's just say it's going to take a bit before I can root for Zach Davies. Now, Davies isn't a bad pitcher. He's actually been above average in 5 of his 6 major league seasons, but he is a pitch-to-contact pitcher and doesn't throw very hard at all. This strategy can work. Kyle Hendricks is proof of that. But if you have a bad day where you can't locate, you basically become batting practice. I'm really hoping Davies can build on what he did this year, where he had a 1.57 ERA plus, instead of taking a step back. Now let's look at the prospects we got in return. First is shortstop Reginald Preciado. He's the youngest of the group at 17 and the Padres' number 11 prospect. Given his age, he probably won't factor into our major league plans until 2024 at the very earliest. And as with anyone who is this young, there's a massive risk that he flames out. His scouting report has him as a pretty balanced but average player with slightly above average hitting and arm. From what it looks like now, not really going to be as good of a player as someone like Baez, let alone any one of the shortstops that become free agents after this season. Then we have the number 13 prospect, outfielder Owen Casey, the Padres' second-round draft pick this year. He looks to have good power, speed, and arm, so another somewhat promising prospect, but again, someone who will probably spend the next 4 years in the minors. So there's a lot we don't know about the type of player he'll become. Next is outfielder Ismael Mena, the Padres number 15 prospect. He looks like a really good athlete and has really good defense and speed, but the hitting isn't there yet. We can only hope that as he develops, he'll become a good hitter too. But as I've been saying, you can't hope that it will turn out okay. You want some pieces that have more safety that they'll turn out well. There's just too much risk involved, in my opinion, getting all these young players who you just don't know anything about. And the last prospect is another shortstop, the number 16 prospect, Jason Santana. He looks to have a similar build to Mena as a defense and speed first player, but given that he's 20 years old, he's seemingly closer to the majors and has less time to develop as a hitter. MLB Pipeline projects Santana to be big league ready by 2023, while the other three are projected for 2024 and beyond. This means that since Zach Davies becomes a free agent after this year, the Cubs will have no major league return from this trade in all of 2022 and probably a lot of 2023, except for extra salary, which, oh yeah, by the way, they won't even be able to get the full rewards of that because it wasn't enough for the Padres to scam us out of our ace. They also needed salary relief. And again, it seems like the Cubs aren't even going to have a good enough roster to compete anyway, so what's the point of cutting the salary and getting nothing meaningful in return? This was the first big move of the Jed Hoyer era, and I think we can all objectively say it sucked. The Cubs had the pieces to make a last push in 2021, but I also understand that it's time to start resetting for the future. But this is not the right way to do that. If we're trading Darvish, we need to get more proven talent, and just more talent in general. I fully expect to see a Chris Bryant trade before the offseason is over if the Cubs really are resetting. In fact, I will be mad if there isn't one. This move only hurts the Cubs for the next 3 years and puts us at huge risk for 2024 and beyond. It cuts our salary so that what? Tom Ricketts can buy another couple of years, that we can spend money on more outrageous contracts like Jason Hayward's, that we can install a retractable roof at Wrigley Field. I'm so lost. What is the plan here, Cubs?